broken clock on the back wall, counting down till the last bell rings. You lock the door with the plastic smile, say this is just our little secret thing. Ink stains on my test paper, your hand leaning where it shouldn't be. You twist the rules like a gold ring, say it's love, say it's meant to be. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief of home. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is a place you go home. See ya, Chomo, see ya, Chomo. We need justice, not a whisper, sorry, go. Leave the kids alone, leave the kids alone. You hide behind a chalk halo, fake men are on a crooked throne. They call you ma'am, they call you sir, you use that power, strip us to the bone. Female face, male face, same crime, same cold eyes when the door clicks shut. Courtroom shrug, they were almost grown. Light little sentence, deep little cut. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief of home. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is a place you go. See ya, Chomo, see ya, Chomo. Need justice, not a whisper, sorry, go. Judge with a tired handshake, gave her falls like it's half awake. You get years, we can count on hands. We get scars, we can't understand. Names on a list, they move you towns. Paper walls, you still prowl around. Kids in rows like loaded guns. You pull the trigger, then you run. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief of home. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is a place you go. See ya, Chomo, see ya, Chomo. We need justice, not a whisper, sorry, go. Leave the kids alone, leave the kids alone, leave the kids alone.
Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
We have a News 15 Investigates follow-up tonight. Formal charges are now on file against the Acadia Parish priest who was arrested earlier this year for child sex crimes. A bill of information is now on file against Father Corey Laverne for 3 counts of indecent behavior with a juvenile. As News 15 Investigates exclusively reported, a criminal complaint was filed against Father Laverne by a fellow priest in early December. That priest reported that a boy told him he was inappropriately touched by Father Laverne at St. Edward Catholic Church in Richard on multiple occasions within the past year. Laverne was under criminal investigation for 6 weeks before his mid-January arrest, and News 15 Investigates uncovered the Diocese of Lafayette was also aware of the complaint during that time, but Laverne remained in ministry. He is set to be arraigned on the charges next week.
The RCMP have introduced a new national database featuring people who've been found guilty of sexual offenses against children who also pose a high risk of committing sexual crimes. So far, the only 2 Albertans on the list live in Calgary, but the provincial government is pushing to have more of a say in who is registered. The high-risk child sex offender database was launched in January. It's a publicly accessible website and relies on recommendations from provincial, territorial, and municipal authorities.
Sometimes these individuals do move from province to province, oftentimes illegally. They're usually under some kind of parole requirement that they can't move without getting approval from the Pro Board of Canada. But every once in a while, they can slip up. And I think it is a kind of an opportunity for the public to be able to stay aware. So a national database is pretty important.
In a statement to CBC News, the province of Alberta points out it has its own high-risk offenders database and takes that management seriously, saying while police agencies make submissions to the federal database through the RCMP, the Alberta government is currently working with the force to explore how it could assume that role, aligning it with the province's existing high-risk offender public notification practices. King says that wouldn't change very much.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Alberta government setting up its own database and announcing it, and the Government of Canada having a coordinated database. There's nothing wrong with having two.
He also noted that very few people are added to these databases, which only highlight the most serious high-risk offenders. Chelsea Mutter, CBC News, Calgary.
Good evening and welcome to WSFA 12 News at 10. I'm Emma Ellis. A Prattville High School employee is facing serious felony charges after an investigation by the Prattville Police Department targeting suspected online child predators. Authorities say the employee has been arrested and is now being held in the Elmore County Jail. WSFA 12 News reporter Jessica Knox has the details.
The Prattville Police Department says 5 people were arrested as part of an investigation targeting online child sexual predators. One of those suspects, authorities say, worked at Prattville High School. Here's the mugshot of Brian Pittman from Elmore County Sheriff's Office. Police say Pittman is charged with electronic solicitation of a child and traveling to meet a child for an unlawful sex act. Investigators say he is currently being held in Elmore County Jail on a $90,000 bond. Now, according to Otago County Schools, Pittman worked as a teacher and a former coach at Prattville High School. In a statement, the Otago County Schools District said, in part, student safety is a top priority for Otago County Schools, and any actions that jeopardize that safety is dealt with swiftly and to the full extent of district policy and state law. Police say the investigation is still ongoing and additional charges could be possible. Anyone with any information related to the case is encouraged to contact law enforcement. In studio, Jessica Knox, WSFA 12 News.
You can find the full statement from the Otago County School District in this web article on WSFA.com. Now,
News tonight, an Evendale man has been arrested accused of having and distributing child pornography. Rain Phoenix Brown has been charged with pandering, obscenity involving a minor, illegal use of a minor, and nudity-oriented material, and more. According to court documents, his phone and other electronics were seized during a search last month. Those same documents say investigators found thousands of images of AI-generated minors engaging in sexual acts. Documents go on to say that a number of real-life children were also found on the devices. He is scheduled to be in court next Monday, the 23rd.
In a TV 20 News update this afternoon, a former Bradford County middle school teacher will spend the next year in a Florida State prison for inappropriate behavior with a student. 27-year-old Matthew Watson was sentenced to 1 year and 1 week on charges of transmitting harmful material to a minor as well as soliciting lewd conduct with a student. Watson will also be a registered sex offender for life.
A breaking news update now for a disturbing case out of East Alabama where investigators confirm this former substitute teacher in Calhoun County faces charges now that 3 different students have accused him of sexual abuse at 2 different school campuses. Your East Alabama reporter Reggie Kyle live at 5 after talking to law enforcement about what they're learning on this. Reggie.
That's right, Jonathan. Calhoun County Sheriff Fallon Hurst says these cases are reminders to always listen carefully to your children and never dismiss allegations of abuse.
A lot of times young children don't understand what's happening to them is wrong, and it may take them a while to discover that or to report it.
In July of 2025, Calhoun County Sheriff Fallon Hurst says some parents in Weaver reported their daughter was sexually abused at Weaver Elementary School during the 2021-2022 school year. Hurst saying it's never too late to come forward.
The child was forensically interviewed at a child advocacy center where she disclosed that a substitute teacher, Jeffrey Owen, had inappropriately touched her. Her sister ended up disclosing the same information during the course of this investigation that had happened to her as well.
Jeffrey Owen was arrested and charged in those cases. Anniston Police Chief Clint Parrish says Owen is also being charged in a separate case after a student who attends an Anniston public school says she was sexually abused in 2025.
The child actually told her parents, and the parent actually come down and filed a report with us. They kept in contact with the parents and the school system, and worked well with our investigative division to bring this to an end.
Though Owen was never employed by the school systems, we were told he worked for an agency that hires substitutes. Sheriff Hurst says everyone can learn something from this situation moving forward.
It's important to talk to the schools, talk to the school employees, listen to your kids, talk to the SROs, and know the SROs for those reasons.
Now, Jeffrey Owen was charged with 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child less than 12 in the Weaver case. He's also facing 1 count of sexual abuse of a child in Anniston case. Your reporter in East Alabama, I'm Reggie Kyle for WBRC 6 News. On your side.
You know, in life, what we find most valuable to us is our families, especially our children. And when we have an incident like this, it sure does raise the temperature of our tempers. This is a scar that, may never heal.
New charges have been filed against a registered sex offender, and law enforcement is asking the public to come forward with any information. Sheriff Toby Shelley says on Sunday around 7 p.m., Pontello, who is a level 1 sex offender, allegedly lured a 5-year-old girl with candy from a playground on Bear Road into the woods and committed sex crimes. He is charged with rape, sexual abuse, luring a child, and endangering the welfare of a child. The sheriff's office says Pontello is also the suspect in a sex crime committed against a 3-year-old earlier this spring. Pontello is on the sex offender registry from an incident in 2011 in Oswego County, but Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick is concerned there may be other victims.
The likelihood of someone with those proclivities remaining dormant for a decade is extremely unlikely. So we're going to be doing a deep dive into his background, his location, see what evidence we get from his social media, from his phone.
Onondaga County investigators are asking for the public's help.
He lured that 5-year-old girl.
Ryan Pontello now stands accused of sex crimes against a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old girl. Investigators worry there are others, in part because they know of at least one other victim in his past. State police arrested Pontello in 2013 in the town of Palermo in Oswego County. Officers charging him then with felony sexual abuse in the 1st degree. You could find that out if you found this report on CNYCentral.com from 12 years ago. Anything more, including the resolution of the case, takes digging. The I-Team went to Palermo. There, we uncovered court records showing police charged Pontello for sexually touching a 5-year-old girl while she was sleeping in her bedroom in 2011. Pontello was 19, living in Phoenix at the time. Felonies are handled in county court, but this case never left the town courtroom, meaning a plea deal reduced this charge to a misdemeanor. He was then registered as a level 1 sex offender. It's the lowest level, meant to signify low risk of reoffending, meaning he doesn't show up when you type his name into the state sex offender registry. It's only by calling that you can find out info about someone with level 1 status.
Hi, my name is Connor White.
Even then, you need personal information like an exact address or even a social security number. We got our hands on his date of birth, and from there, learned he was convicted on misdemeanor sexual abuse in the 2nd degree in August of 2013. A 5-year-old victim, the same age as the girl police now say he assaulted in the woods near a playground Sunday.
All the victims will be forever affected by this monster's behavior.
Francis Coots is a retired commander with state police. He says it's possible that this case leads to a change in how sex offender registration and information is handled.
His previous crimes were protected by privacy laws. And unfortunately, is that a child had to suffer because of it.
How many more children does he need to traumatize for the rest of their lives before something more is done and he's not just let out with a slap on the wrist?
In Henry County, an online tip led to an arrest for child sex crimes. This happened at a home in Paris, Tennessee. The sheriff's office says 38-year-old Christopher Carter was arrested. A tip from the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force revealed Carter downloaded child pornography. He is charged with 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor.
Tonight at 5, an Indianapolis man is under arrest in what police are calling one of the worst cases of child pornography they have ever seen.
Yeah, and now they're concerned there could be more victims out there. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Karen Kemble in for Felicia Lawrence.
And I'm Anne-Marie Tiernan. Detectives say they found more than 10,000 illegal images on the man's electronic devices.
As our Chase Howell explains, this was in connection to an investigation from last year. Chase?
IMPD says it was at this house on Adams Street where they arrested 32-year-old Andre Brewer on Thursday. Police say this stemmed from an arrest in July of 2023 for alleged child molestation. SWAT along with IMPD were positioned outside a home on Adams Street Thursday to arrest Andre Brewer, who detectives believe was in possession of 10,000 or more images and videos of child pornography.
This case in particular, it wasn't just the number, but the type of images that were being depicted, that our detectives had to go through and see these. For them to say that this is the worst case of child pornography they've seen is absolutely heartbreaking and incredible.
Nearly 10 months ago, court documents show Brewer was charged with 4 counts of child molestation and 1 count of child exploitation.
I can tell you they were young. I don't really want to get into the ages. I think part of us being a little bit vague on this is that we don't want to highlight the gruesomeness of it.
Police say when they arrested him on those charges, they seized multiple electronic devices from him.
It's hard work. These detectives have to look at despicable images, and it's necessary in order to make a case against someone who should not be on the streets of Indianapolis or any city.
Online Marion County jail records show Brewer was released on bond less than a month later. But although he was released, IMPD says they kept investigating him. And according to detectives, that's how they found the thousands of illegal images on his alleged devices, throwing him back in jail.
And we're hoping that with him in jail right now, that he won't be able to victimize any other children now or ever in the future.
Reporting in Indianapolis, Chase Howell, 13 News.
All right, thanks, Chase. IMPD says Marion County Prosecutor's Office charged Brewer with 9 counts of possession of child pornography with aggravating factor. Police also say there is always a possibility there are more victims. If you feel that your child may be a victim of child abuse or neglect, you can call DCS. That number is 1-800-800-5556.
REG in Memphis. This is News Channel 3 at 5.
First at 5 on your news leader, a man in South Haven is arrested for allegedly being in possession of child pornography. Adolfo Raul Vasquez Santana is facing federal charges tonight. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. WRAG's Raven Copeland joins us now live. In Raven, authorities also point out the suspect is in the country illegally. What more do you know?
That's right, Greg and Stephanie. When the South Haven Police Department arrested Vasquez Santana, they determined he had been living in the United States illegally. Now, I spoke to people in the community who say his arrest is a part of a bigger issue.
32-year-old Adolfo Raul Vasquez Santana is accused of downloading and sharing videos of child sex abuse victims. The United States Attorney's Office says the victims appeared to be younger than 13. Vasquez Santana was investigated by the South Haven Police Department after they received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I spoke to a South Haven man who says he's disturbed by the suspect's charges.
Despicable. Totally inappropriate.
During the suspect's interview with the South Haven Police Department, investigators say he admitted to sending, receiving, and possessing the child pornographic material. Court records show Vasquez Santana also wrote an apology to the victim's parents. When the suspect was arrested and charged, investigators discovered he's been living illegally in the U.S. Vasquez Santana was released to ICE for removal. The Department of Homeland Security then charged the suspect with federal offenses in relation to the child child pornography case. WREG spoke to people in South Haven who say illegal immigration is an issue in the community.
Arrest them all. And if they've got, they're going about it wrong, they need to clean out the jails and get all, and then go for the people that actually try to work for a living.
He came over here illegal, so he knew the consequences.
A Mississippi lawmaker announced his plans to crack down on illegal immigrants who commit crimes. Senator Michael McClendon proposed a bill that would allow Mississippi law enforcement to work with ICE to streamline the arrest processes. It has not been passed. However, he believes it will have support.
Now, Senator McClendon says that bill he introduced that bill last month, and he says that bill would really help reduce costs for taxpayers in the state. It would also create an immigration enforcement division in the state's Department of Public Safety. WREG will let you know if that bill passes. Reporting live from downtown Memphis for your news leader, Raven Copeland, WREG News Channel 3.
All right.
A Morgantown man was arrested after police say they found about 450 images of child pornography on his online accounts. Officials say that Anthony Beckers was arrested and booked into jail Tuesday. Police investigated after the 26-year-old after they received reports that images of child pornography were found on his Dropbox and a Verizon server under his name. Court documents say the Dropbox account, which contained 2 videos depicting child sexual abuse, also had a copy of his driver's license and resume. Bankers Beckett has been charged with distribution and exhibiting of material depicting minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct. He's currently held in the North Central Regional Jail with a bond set at $20,000. Deputies seized
a nursery worker, as we were telling you a short while ago, has been sentenced to 24 years in custody for raping young boys in his care at a now defunct nursery. Let's bring in our West of England correspondent, Dan Whitehead, who's outside Bristol Crown Court for us. And Dan, this was a really shocking case. Just talk to us about the key developments today.
Yeah, this follows a trial in February. It was described at the start of that trial by the prosecution as every parent's nightmare. Much of the content in this trial we simply can't report. It involves a nursery in the centre of Bristol and 5 boys who were aged between 2 and 3 years old. Nathan Bennett, who is 30 from near Bath, began working at the Pardew King Street nursery back in July 2024. And the concerns and the red flags were raised in February last year. That is after the manager of the nursery reviewed CCTV footage of Bennett as he was in the care of some of those children. He was seen in the footage putting his hands down the trousers of one child. Now, Bennett was immediately sent home and police arrested Bennett shortly after the nursery closed in December of that year. Now, during a 4-day trial here at Bristol Crown Court, the jury heard how staff had noted that Bennett would sit children on his lap for lengthy periods of time. He wore a pair of trousers with a hole in the crotch area, and he seemed, quote, territorial over certain toddlers and their victims. It's worth bringing you some of the words of the victim personal statements from the parents of these children involved in this case. One of the parents said, "Our son is a hilarious and cheeky boy. He trusted Nathan to care for him at nursery, trust that was ultimately destroyed. The guilt and anger has been overwhelming." Another parent, "We did not find out for several months that our son had been a victim. It's hard to put into words the pain of being told that this has happened to your child. The following hours, I was in a state of shock and disbelief, and the mother of that child said, I screamed and cried. The pain was indescribable. I was trembling." In sentencing, the judge, Judge William Hart, said that watching the CCTV of these little children running around and playing brings a smile to any decent parent or person. But the children we see are not secure. They were at risk because, unknown to staff and parents, you were looking at Bennett, ready to abuse them. He described him as a dangerous paedophile and as evil. Now,
the breaking news there in the last few moments that Nathan Bennett, a former employee at Pardew King Street Nursery in Bristol, has been sentenced to 30 years for sexually abusing 5 boys in his care. He had previously pleaded guilty to 13 other sexual offences relating to 4 of those 5 boys. Last month, he was convicted by jury of multiple counts of rape and of sexual assault that he had faced trial for. We understand that 24 of those 30 years will be a custodial sentence and 6 years will be spent on extended licence.
A St. Bernard Parish special education teacher faces a charge of child exploitation in Pearl River, Mississippi. St. Bernard Parish School Superintendent Doris Voce identifies the teacher as Anthony Martino. He was a teacher at Arlene Miro Elementary School in St. Bernard Parish. Voce says there are no allegations of inappropriate behavior with the students at the school. Parents have been notified of his arrest. The Pearl River Sheriff's Office did not release any additional details, calling it an open case.
How does something like this even happen? An 11-year-old boy whose parents only had basic birds and bees stranger danger talks with has his first sexual experience with a man 13 years older than him online. That same man now tied to at least 6 boys as young as 10 in at least 3 states.
This was so grotesque and so over the top and so sexual in nature that it didn't even cross my mind that this is something that we would have to deal with.
These Scottsdale parents asked us to conceal their identity. Their son was only 11 when they caught a pedophile sending him graphic videos.
We had parental controls in place. We thought we were doing everything right. We checked his phone. We checked his computer.
They even paid for extra safety apps and features.
Unfortunately, the technology is very difficult to make bulletproof.
Nothing could have prepared them for the stranger who singled out their son.
It would not have occurred to me to say, and if a man shows you a picture of his penis, this is what you should do.
Their son is on the autism spectrum with ADHD.
So playing games and being online was sort of his outlet.
Fortnite is his favorite game. That's where he met this man.
Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Jacob Lozano, December 8th, 2000.
Jacob Lozano lied about his age to groom preteen boys online.
He moved them from Fortnite to Discord, and it started happening very, very quickly.
Maricopa County Prosecutor Maggie Toth says the digital evidence is irrefutable.
What he would videotape and send to them were things that no 11-year-old child should ever have to see.
That popular platform Discord lets hundreds of millions of users share videos and live chat, clicking a simple button to bypass so-called age restrictions.
It would go from talking about sexual acts openly to what do you like to do to yourself.
This man didn't have any criminal history, right?
He did not.
But no one does until they're caught.
Exactly.
That's why what these parents did as soon as they found out made all the difference, helping detectives build a case.
Scottsdale Police Department was able to identify the boys in Arizona, a boy in California, and I believe 2 boys in Georgia. There are more unknown victims.
They were on vacation when Grandma walked into their son's room before school.
She said, I saw a picture of male genitalia on his computer. What should I do?
Mom checked her emotions, locked down her son's apps and accounts, and reached out to police who took over his gaming console.
I sort of immediately knew that if there is something going on, we want to preserve everything that's been said and sent, because if we weren't very careful about it, then we could lose all the information that would tell us the extent of what he had been exposed to.
Does it ever show in the digital record that a voice chat happened or a length of time?
That's where it becomes a black hole, that we don't know what happens beyond that.
Because unless it's being recorded, it's gone.
While Discord's platform guidelines say they have a zero-tolerance policy against grooming, sexual exploitation of minors, and content that sexualizes children that they will report and ban users, they do not scan direct messages and group chats for illegal content.
The penalty after trial is significant. These are essentially numerous life counts.
Lozano pleaded guilty, sentenced to 32 years and lifetime probation as a level 3 sex offender. Detectives say Lozano sent cash and gift cards to some of the boys in exchange for sexual videos.
They know that these may not be things that they want to do, so if I say I'm going to send you a gift card for $100, well, then maybe I'll do it.
We heard from the detective that even one child, he delivered a pizza to his house.
I will never forgive myself for this happening under my nose.
To protect your kids, experts suggest you set screen time limits and check their accounts. Watch for red flags like sneaking to play or hiding their screens. And no matter how young your child is, if you're letting them on any social platform, tell them to come to you if anyone shows them or talks to them about body parts covered by a bathing suit.
It's as awkward as it might be, as difficult as it might be, as busy as you might be, you still have to do it.
Their son is in counseling, and they say got solicited again not long after they allowed him back online.
I think it's not if this will happen, but probably when.
That's why you can't let anyone else beat you to those pivotal talks with your children.
Nothing is going to replace your direct parenting intervention.
Tonight, a man is behind bars on charges of child pornography possession. Franklin police officers arrested 36-year-old Michael White after getting a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Authorities accuse White of distributing child porn through a messaging platform and say they recovered a large number of videos. Authorities now sending a warning tonight, saying it's crucial parents monitor their children's online activity to protect them from digital predators. Shane Fordham joins us live in the studio with more on what parents should know.
Franklin Police Detective Corporal Peter Trimble told me that parents have to pay very close attention to what their children are doing online and who exactly they communicate with in order to protect them from cases like this.
So it's important for parents to monitor their children's activities online, know who they're communicating with, and it's also important to build trust with them so they have open discussions with their parents as far as their activities on the internet.
Franklin police officers arrested Michael Robert White this week. He is facing 20 counts of child pornography distribution and 3 counts of use of encryption and criminal activity.
So between April and July of 2024, the Franklin Police Department received 4 cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in regards to a suspect who was disseminating child sexual abuse material via an instant messaging platform.
Trimble confirms law enforcement identified 11 victims. He says law enforcement has seen a significant increase in online predatory crimes since 2020.
I think law enforcement across the country has seen a big increase in the amount of cyber tips that they're receiving from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children over the past several years. As technology evolves and new platforms become available, absolutely there's more of a threat that continues to grow as technology emerges.
Detective Trimble says it is essential for parents to be aware of what their children are doing online in order to protect them.
Parental controls, just knowing your kids' usernames on social media so you can monitor at least their public activity and who their friends and contacts are. It is a very big threat because there are many bad actors online who use the internet to groom and exploit children, and that can lead to dangerous real-world encounters.
The Franklin Police Department encourages parents to speak with their children about internet safety. The Southern Virginia Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force has parental resources available on their website. We have a link to that on 13newsnow.com. Shane Fordham, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Shane. And Michael White is at the Western Tidewater Regional Jail without bond.
And this police affidavit alleges 28-year-old Stephen Cagini, a now suspended York City police officer, raped and sexually assaulted his girlfriend's 1-year-old baby girl over the past several days. Cagini is locked up in the Dauphin County Prison on $200,000 bail. Court documents allege Stephen Cagini committed the crimes in Elizabethville, Dauphin County, and Springettsbury Township, York County, during the past several days. The abuse caused significant injuries to the baby. A Pennsylvania State Police affidavit shows a daycare worker at the YMCA in Halifax noticed serious injuries to the 13-month-old baby girl after she was dropped off Monday morning. The worker called police. The court records show a trooper found bruises all over the baby, including the face, head, and vaginal area. She was taken to Penn State Hershey Medical Center, where a doctor found the baby's leg was broken and she was the victim of sexual violence. The baby's mother initially told police the bruising happened during a fall in the bathtub at their Elizabethville home and later due to an accident with the family dog. Police say Cugini made similar statements, but investigators revealed text messages retrieved from the mother's phone show Cugini acknowledging responsibility for the baby's bruises. The affidavit states Cugini told police on Tuesday the injuries occurred while he was caring for the child alone. York's Police Commissioner Michael Muldrow sent a statement to News 8, reading in part, "If the allegations are founded, trust and believe I'll be the first to take swift and definitive action against them." And no one answered at the Elizabethville home when we went there and knocked on the door. The daycare did not wish to comment about the case. Live in Dauphin County, Barbara Barr, News 8.
A Mississippi priest in training is now behind bars. DeSoto County deputies say he was caught with child pornography. That man, also a DeSoto County educator, was arrested today. Hello, I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. WRG's Brian Didlick has been following this story and discovered this man is one of a number of teachers recently arrested for crimes against children.
I want to be clear. We take all crimes seriously, especially crimes committed against our children.
Sheriff Thomas Tuggle not mincing words Friday after the arrest of this man, 24-year-old Jonathan Win Fong. He's been accused of possessing, accessing, and distributing child pornography.
Win Fong was a priest in training and had been serving as a religious educator at Queen of Peace in Olive Branch, Mississippi.
Sheriff Tuggle coined the investigation as Operation Exorcism, saying Win Fong was taken into custody at the church. They also served a warrant at his home in Nesbitt.
During the search warrant, digital forensic experts recovered numerous files containing explicit material involving minors from electronic devices seized at the scene. One device was actively downloading child sexual abuse material.
Win Fong is one of a handful of educators arrested for charges involving children in North Mississippi since February. 2 others were arrested for child pornography. Another teacher, Natalia Wright, was rearrested today in Texas after reportedly violating a no-contact order with the victim. She was accused back in May of touching and communicating with an underage student. But back to Win Fong's case, media was not allowed to ask questions. It is unclear if there will be any more charges and if any local children were affected. The sheriff did say this arrest serves as a warning.
We will be relentless in our pursuit of these predators.
At this time, Win Fong is being held without bond. We reached out to the church where he worked. We haven't heard back. In Hernando, Brian Didlick, WREG, News Channel 3.
You probably see me catch pedophiles on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ron, can I have that phone, boss? Why you been talking with a little boy? Why you having dinner with a little boy?
He contacted me.
No, you
Why
wrote first.
Him?
You wrote the little boy first on Grindr. I know how this works. So let's go through a little bit of what you're doing here, man. Mr. Ron Callahan. That's pretty bad. Gum at the table, Ron. You got no manners.
Yeah, good boy. Elbows off the table, man. Yeah, elbows off the table, manners.
So I have always had a special place in my heart for kids.
You always had a special place in your heart for kids, huh?
Why are you taking that now?
Look at this. The whole time.
This guy's here to be the 14-year-old boy to fall in love. This guy's here to be the 14-year-old boy to fall in love. Yeah. This man right here is a pedophile in your city. This man right here is a pedophile. Fremont, Ohio, we like pedophiles?
Hey, I think Janet seen what's happening. Relax, brother. Hey, police on the way. Ron, what happened, boss? Why? Because you're a pedophile in Fremont, Ohio, and we don't like it. Let him see, buddy.
Hey, what's going on? You're here to meet a 14-year-old boy?
Why?
What?
Hey, let him talk. This is the talking portion.
Let's hear it.
Why?
I don't think anything till you learn.
I ain't no cop, bitch. I ain't no cop. Come on, man. Come on. Excuse me, everybody. Rod's here to meet a 14-year-old boy.
Let's hear it, buddy. Ron Callahan. Jesus.
John. Ron John.
You love children? He said he loves children.
He said he loves children. And he's a youth pastor. That's what you said. That's what you said. That's what you said. Hey, he's a boys and girls program.
You're getting your ass beat when you go to prison, nigga. Why?
Fucking loser. Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hey, I love you. It's okay. I love you. It's okay. Okay. Let's go. Excuse me, everybody. This man came in a 14-year-old boy. He is a pedophile in your city. There's monsters that live in your city.
You're lucky to have you, boy. You're lucky to have you, boy.
Look at that shit. Get out of here! Wait, watch out! This man right here! Fuck that boy! Hey, how a bunch of kids beat y'all here? Fucking pedophile. Hey, how a bunch of kids beat y'all here? Yeah, come on. Do something. No choice but to do something.
Get better for him and protect him. We're tired of this. You guys keep
Look at this. My boy. Look at this. Hey, we done? What's up, Tush? My brother. How you doing, brother? Love you, man.
Patrol received information that an adult was communicating with a local juvenile via Snapchat.
Make sure Hags has eyes on.
The investigation started on Quick Ads, which is a feature on Snapchat, and that's how the two met.
Walking through the doors right now.
Ultimately, the parents intervened, and the child reported this to their parents, which is a testament to their relationship and the strong communication they had between each other. They were able to get ahead of this before it got out of control. It got reported to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, in which a SOSET detective went undercover, assumed that local juvenile's account on Snapchat, and began communicating with this adult male. He was later identified as Anthony Wheeler. He's 39 years old, from the Jacksonville area. Ultimately, yesterday, Anthony took substantial steps to meet with this child. At a meeting with this local juvenile, he was met by the SOSET task force and numerous partnering agencies who assisted with the investigation.
Anthony, you're under arrest. Put your arms up. Right now. Turn around.
Oh, I knew this was going to happen.
He was placed under arrest at that time and is currently lodged at the Jackson County Jail for luring a minor, online sexual corruption in the first degree, and online sexual corruption in the second degree.
These types of cases involve a lot of work, a lot of going above and beyond what you would do in your normal workday, and it's very important work because these are the types of people that are preying upon juveniles, and when those people come to our attention, we want to work hard to catch them and take them off the street to help keep the juveniles safe from the predators that are out there.
These people do exist, and they exist in our area. They are local, and they are active in seeking to exploit children sexually online.
In Gainesville, police officers say a UF student who was arrested in 2024 has been sentenced to 8 years in prison and 10 years of sex offender probation. Officers say 21-year-old Nathan Lewis pled guilty last Tuesday and was sentenced on Thursday. Lewis was taken into custody when he was 19 after an investigation revealed he sent photos of himself to minors between 13 and 15 years old using a Snapchat account. Lewis admitted to investigators that the account was his, saying he was lonely during the spring semester.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Ann McGill. A former mortgage loan officer who worked in Mount Pleasant has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. He pleaded guilty to uploading videos of women to his OnlyFans account without their consent. Sean Robert Onstad pleaded guilty yesterday to charges in both Berkeley and Charleston counties. Those charges include 2 counts of dissemination, procuring or promoting obscenity, and 2 counts of aggravated voyeurism. Live 5's investigative reporter Emily Johnson joining us now to share all the specific details included in those public records. So, Emily, how many women pressed charges against Onstad?
And Sean Onstad was arrested twice in March of 2024 for charges involving 3 separate women between Berkeley and Charleston counties. Investigators say Onstad recorded himself having sex with women and then uploaded these videos to his OnlyFans account. Viewers had to pay $3 then to watch those videos. According to court documents, one victim discovered the videos after speaking with another woman who had previously dated Onstad, and that conversation prompted her to check his OnlyFans account, where she found a video of herself posted without her permission. Court records show when the victim confronted him by text, Onstad admitting to posted the video, apologized, and then deleted the content. He said in part, quote, "I was in a bad spot in life, in a bad spot financially, and it was stupid of me. I should have never done that without your consent and put you at jeopardy." According to the nationwide mortgage licensing system, Onstad worked as a loan officer for a mortgage company in Mount Pleasant. After he pleaded guilty, Onstad was sentenced to 3 years in prison, followed by 3 years probation. He's also required to register as a sex offender and attend mental health counseling. For Live 5 Investigates, I'm Emily Johnson.
Well, a man whose address appears to be a Camp Lejeune address is being charged with multiple counts of sexual assault and indecent liberties with a child, according to warrants. Warrants say 20-year-old Leonel Calvo was charged with 4 counts of statutory rape of a person who is 15 years of age or younger and 6 counts of indecent liberties with a child. According to arrest warrants, the offense took place back in December, and Calvo was arrested on Thursday. WITN has reached out to Camp Lejeune officials for confirmation and additional details. Warrants say Calvo was taken to Wilson County Detention Center, but has been released on a $35,000 secured bond.
We've never once had any suspicion of anything like this.
People we spoke with today in Westwego can't believe their neighbor faces dozens of child pornography and molestation charges. A source tells Fox 8 he volunteers with schools in Jefferson Parish and with the Boy Scouts. As Jacob Bradford reports, people who know him say the man they thought they knew lives a lie.
People that live in this Westwego neighborhood say that they were surprised to find out that one of their friends and neighbors is facing more than 50 counts of child pornography charges. And the only word that they can use to describe the situation is shocking.
They've been living there for like 15 years, man. This is a complete, utter shock to everyone in the neighborhood.
Doug Mayu has lived next door to 61-year-old Daryl DeVenny since 2008. Over the years, the two became close.
He was like one of my best friends, honestly. Yeah, we were really good. We were close, so it's tough.
This week, police arrested DeVenny. He faces more than 70 criminal charges, including possessing and producing child pornography, molestation, and sexual battery. It's a shock to Mayu, who says DeVenny was always there to lend a helping hand.
Super nice neighbors to go borrow some eggs or milk or whatever, vice versa, and friendly. I'm working on my truck. He come help me. I go help him. It's completely shocking.
Even new neighbors like Robert Guidry say they had no idea.
I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, you never know who's going to be doing stuff like that.
Sources tell Fox 8 DeVenny volunteered at schools in Jefferson Parish and the Boy Scouts, making the story even more unsettling to those living closest to him.
It's so much at once, it's like, I don't even know how to react to that, I guess.
He was a super nice guy. We had parties and New Year's Eve things we do outside, and the kids were around him, and never once did anybody think that something like this was going down.
We just figure out who you can trust and then go from there.
Now, right now, the investigation is said to still be ongoing, but the Attorney General says that if you have any information that can help out with this case, to contact the Louisiana Bureau of Investigation. Reporting in Westwego, Jacob Bradford, Fox 8, Local First.
While the parole board is at it again, this is what they are doing. Inmate Gregory Vogelsang,
convicted child that a judge once called the monster parents fear the most, has now been cleared for release under California's elderly parole program.
And as you heard, the California Parole Board is up to it again. They are going to release a monster who was sentenced to 355 years in prison, but they're saying, due to new legislation in the state of California, something called elderly parole, when you get above the age of 60, you can then get in front of the parole board. Now, it's the things that he says at his parole hearing that are just so shocking to anybody who doesn't have a PhD, anyone who's not on the parole board. The idea that he would get released by these monsters is just beyond shocking.
and let me give you some insight into what this inmate said at the parole hearing. During his parole hearing, the inmate specifically said, you have to stop masturbating to images of child in your mind or real child, because that leads to molestation, and molestation leads to kidnapping, and the kidnapping leads ultimately to the murder of a child. This inmate had a risk assessment that was above average for reoffending, and yet the parole board is letting him out. This inmate admitted while in custody to images in his mind of children, and yet the parole board is letting him out.
But I have good news for you, Mandalorians. I am not here simply to virtue signal, to scream off of my high perch. I am here with a call to action. There is something that we can do this time, today. We can call into the parole board and leave our thoughts. We can email, and if you are in Sacramento area, you can even go in person.
So what do we need to do? We're here today for a call to action. Because he was granted parole and my office fought it every single step of the way, we have now requested that that decision be reviewed en banc by the entire parole board. And that hearing, that en banc hearing, is going to be next Wednesday on March the 18th. And so we are asking people right now to attend that hearing. It's going to be at 1515 K Street, Suite 550. And we're asking people to show up. We're asking people to show up to make a comment. We're also asking people to call in to 916-267-0857.
Hello, my name is, and I am calling to strongly oppose the parole of Gregory Lee Vogelsang, CDCR P23041. Mr. Vogelsang was convicted of over 20 counts of violence crimes against children and has recently admitted to ongoing fantasies that make him a high risk for reoffending. I urge the board to prioritize public safety and the protection of our children over his release. Thank you.
Here we go again. We were here 2 weeks ago talking about the same issue, and please, don't sugarcoat anything for your readers, your viewers, your listeners. This is real. It's visceral. I am angry about this. It is not okay. I mean, you look around at every person, average person, Mr. Vogelsang belongs in prison for the rest of his life. And yet the board releases him after 27 years. Think about that. 27 years. He was sentenced to over 300 years. How is he getting out early? How do you reconcile that? There's no reconciliation, and that's the big issue in California. The parole board is letting us down. They are horrible. I will say that out front. They are horrible. After this case and the Funston case, they need to be gone. period. Children deserve all the protection they get. Children deserve a second chance. When it comes down to predators or our kids, there's no in between. There's no gray or middle area on that. You support our kids, you defend our kids. This has to stop. People need to get angry. And as far as the legislature goes, there's a lot of bills in play right now to address this issue and fix it. They want to move it back to 60 years of age. I'm going to call BS on that. The only change is if you're a sexually violent predator, you're not eligible for elderly parole, period. There's no fixes, no in-betweens. It has to happen that way. Legislature, read the tea leaves. The public's fed up. They're tired of this BS. Soft on crime does not work.
And please take this opportunity. Do it right now while you're watching. Take your phone, dial the number. I left a script in the description. Remain respectful. We need to do this respectfully, cordially, and methodically. And as the Mandoo Army, let our voices be heard. This is a unique opportunity where we can show support to prosecutors and law enforcement that are as passionate about this as we are. Let's make noise. Please, this is the one. We have never asked for much on this channel. We have certainly never asked for money, but this is the one time that I feel that we can all have our voices heard. We can be the megaphone for for all the survivors of this crime and for justice. Let our voices be heard. And if you are, for some reason, in Sacramento, see if you can show up, see if you can represent the Mandoo family. Send me an email. Let me know you're going, and let's see how we can even do some type of collab on this. Anyways, let's go watch this goes on another 20 minutes, and it is really impressive. I want to watch it with you because the team over here leaves mic drop after mic drop after mic drop. A reporter even asks the question about recidivism, as our last parolee would say. And the answers are quite epic. So let's continue.
The DA's office, the sheriff's office, and law enforcement fighting it day in and day out. There are a lot of people out there like that. You will never rehabilitate them. And to give them a second chance, what does that tell you to the victims? These children, kids, are scarred the rest of their life and suffer trauma. I have a 3.5-year-old grandson. And I think about that. What if someone did this to him? That is not okay. And I am so angry and so fed up with the laws in California protecting people. You have caucuses that purport to protect people. There's a new caucus now, a children's caucus. Where are you at on this? Are you weighing in on this? I hear crickets. I hear a women's caucus, women and children's issues. Where are you at? Weigh in on this. Little kids. You combine both of these guys, that's 13 victims. And you know what? There are more because it's underreported. There are many more victims. So put your money where your mouth is. Why you got elected, go protect our children. We are fed up with it. California's fed up with it. Sacramento's fed up with it. These two cases are in Sacramento County. Imagine how many more there are in the state of California. Imagine how many folks have been released. They've been releasing 100 lifers a month. Individuals similar to this, they're out on our streets right now. And it's a gamble. As the DA said, he's got a moderate risk of reoffending, a high risk. Why are you even giving him a chance? And I said it again, what in the hell is going on in California? Ask yourselves that. And the way this happens, he gave you the information, Tim did, is your viewers, your listeners, and your readers get pissed and demand accountability because we're watching how you vote. It's an election year. Protect your constituents, protect our children. Stop protecting these predators, these pedophiles.
I would also note this. The inception of this predator, he described how it started. He was a mover. He helped move people from one home to the next. And when he was in people's homes, he would search through their photo albums, looking for pictures of their children, especially if there were pictures where they were unclothed. He would steal those photographs, take them home, and masturbate to them. But he admitted that that wasn't enough, that he then moved on to molest children. And that is who the parole board is letting out. And that is the problem with elder parole. That is letting out child molesters. And as the sheriff said, we need to change the law. We need to exclude child molesters, exclude sexual predators for elder parole. We need to change the law because, frankly, those who passed these laws have let us down. And worse, they've let our children down. And so we need to put an end to that. So with that,
I got one more thing. And this is real talk. In county jails and state prisons, inmates themselves hate child molesters. They don't associate with them. They don't deal with them. They have a code of conduct. How in the hell doesn't the parole board have a code of conduct? That's a great question. They hate those folks themselves. The inmates do, and will not tolerate them. Yet our parole board tolerates this stuff. Something's wrong, and it needs to get fixed.
Here's the problem that I fundamentally have here. We as a society and as a justice system made a promise to these victims, these 6 young boys, that they would never have to go to a parole hearing, that this monster would never get out. And as a society, we've broken that promise with this law. That is a heartbreaking and disgusting thing that we have done to these boys, re-victimizing them in terms of now their monster may get out because of that. But we'll look through every single thing that we have to look through to try to keep them in. But right now, there is one opportunity to keep them in, and that opportunity is next Wednesday at the en banc hearing. So we're asking people to call in, to show up, and to stand up for children.
Just wondering, so are you guys, it sounds like you guys are calling for people to come out to the en banc hearing, also to exclude sexual predators from elderly parole, also to get rid of the parole board. I'm just curious about those specific.
So as far as the law goes, I spent 8 years in the legislature, so I know it very well. There's not an appetite for it. Not everyone, but some folks want no one being held accountable, going to jail or prison with that. And because of the Funston case, a lot of bills started popping up. There's a lot of bills out there right now, probably 7 bills that address this issue, but they're moving it back to 60 years of age. So it's very vague. They're trying to carve it out so it's possible to get support and get it passed. Well, you know what? It's not a heavy lift. I don't know who's going to oppose this besides the anti-recidivism people and some of the proponents of basically letting you do what you want. But the public supports it 100%. This is a no-brainer. So read the tea leaves. People want it changed. They want our children protected. And like I said, this is the tip of the iceberg. I promise you that. And we all know sexual assault is underreported. We know that for a fact. There are more kids out there that were never identified. So, and this is just Sacramento, 2 cases in 2 weeks. There are more, thousands of cases out there, hundreds of bad guys, evil people out there. There are evil people in this world. There are no-level offenders in jail or prison. So wake up, Sacramento, wake up, California, get angry and let your politicians know enough is enough. Things have to change.
What have the conversations been like with victims, your victims advocates having to reach out to those friend victims and let them know? I imagine there's the qualification of the victims that is on the docket to be released. So what have the conversations been like with the families of the people who thought that he was going to serve 300 plus years? I'm going to let him talk about some of it, DA, but it's really opening up that old wound, the trauma they've had as a young kid. As young kids, we're talking from 3 to 11 or 12 years old, and reopening that trauma. And that's the big issue. They never should have gone through that. They were guaranteed that this person's being put away forever. These people are monsters. And back then it was the old thing. Hey, video games, candy, get in my car. And now it's much more sophisticated. It goes on now daily. They have mobile devices to lure these kids. So it's just, like I said, it's not fair for the victims. Let's start putting victims first and stop putting perpetrators first.
For the media, can I ask you to identify yourselves before the questions? Thank you.
So to answer your question and go back to it, there's a couple of different call to actions. Number one, the first one is obviously we need to have people show up at the en banc hearing or call in to stop this. That's the first step that we need to take. The second step we need to take is to change the law. When you look back, this law was passed in 2017. This law was passed in 2017, and then it was doubled down by the legislature in 2020, where it was voted on yet again to reduce the age at which somebody is eligible from 60 to 50. So we need to change the law. That's the second call to action. And the third thing is those individuals, whether on the parole board that let Funston out or the individuals that are letting this sexual predator out, individual commissioners on the parole board can be removed for incompetence. And the fact of the matter is this: if you're going to let this child molester out, when he's saying all these things, when he have an above average risk at reoffending, when he talks about kidnapping and killing and molesting kids and those fantasies that he has, it's incompetent to let him out. And if they let him out, then those commissioners are frankly incompetent. So those are the three call to actions that we have. And in regards to, discussing the victims and notifying them, I've had to do that multiple times in many different cases as we see the law changes over the year. And I can tell you, and I'll be respectful of our conversations with survivors because I want to be respectful. But it is one of the most difficult conversations you ever have as a prosecutor or a victim advocate, to sit down and talk to a survivor when they believe that justice was there, that they had closure, that they would never have to go in front of a parole board or even imagine that their perpetrator, the person that killed their family member or the person that molested them, would get out. And now that is a real possibility. It's a heartbreaking conversation that we should never have. And that's why the system has broken their promises to victims. And I agree with the sheriff. We need to put victims first and not perpetrators. Next question.
Then Kate Wolf of the Sacramento Bee. And according to data compiled by Uncommon Law, no person who's ever been released under the elderly parole program has ever committed a sexual reoffense. And I just wonder, how can you say that this person will do his action again if that...
They haven't been caught. And that's a big issue. They have not been caught on the reoffense rate. And these guys, and right now, they're very sophisticated. And in this case, he admitted that he still fantasizes about kids. So sometimes you catch the dumb ones, not the smart ones. Because the smart ones say, hey, I'm rehabilitated. I don't think about kids anymore. He admitted it. And if you read his statement in the hearing, he admits to a lot of troubling things. The smart ones don't admit to it. And these days with devices, the smart ones are difficult to catch. And that's the big issue. These are the same folks. And my thing is, how can anyone, including that organization, support these two individuals being released? That's the bottom line. That goes against all morals for most people. How do you reconcile that? How is it okay? These kids can never get their lives back. And as law enforcement and district attorney's office, it's our job to protect victims. And we take it very seriously.
I'd like to address the statistics. Yeah. I prosecuted sex crimes for many years before I became the DA. And what we find out was child molestation cases in particular, and even adult rape cases, the vast majority of them are never reported. They're never reported. Or if they're reported, it's many, many years later. And it's then very difficult to put the case together. And we talk about age in terms of reoffending. I prosecuted the East Area rapist, the Golden State Killer, and we caught him when he was 72 years old. I have video of him in his jail cell looking at a female worker, and he is masturbating to her. He's at the age of 72. And so we think that age and they age out, that's not the truth in terms of reality. And my question to anybody who will cite a statistic that these individuals don't reoffend, if anybody wants to stand by those statistics, my question is, would you like Mr. Vogelsang or Mr. Funston to move into the house right next to you? Would you allow that individual to take care of your kids? Would you allow that individual to babysit? Would you allow that individual to give your kid a ride? And if anybody who wants to cite those statistics and willing to do that, then they probably should be charged for child endangerment.
Under Sheriff Ziegler here. So that's a great question. I served, did the sheriff's public safety policy for 8 years at the legislature, and we were always trying to gather real statistics, right? I can't tell you how many times anti public safety advocates got up and cited statistics, and then when you dug into how they collected that and how they got it, it was basically BS so many times. So what we're really talking about here, as a matter of fact, the sheriff ran a bill for recidivism rate for CDCR. Couldn't even make it past public safety committee. Ran that bill and it got killed because they don't want to know. But let's talk about this instead of the specifics. So this gentleman in the psychological report, I use that term loosely, during his psychological report, he said, I will never be fixed. I will always have a desire for children. So they give them tools so he can work through that. You know what his tool is? To tell himself mentally, stop it. That's it. So the Board of Prison Hearings is letting this person out that's a moderately high risk. How we see that, moderately high risk, I will never be fixed. I have a tool to tell myself, stop it. It's a coin flip. At best. Is another victim worth a coin flip? Talk about statistics all day, but let's talk about the facts of this guy.
And if that doesn't fire you up, I do not know what will, because it was for me just so I needed to see this. How long have we been waiting to see just a team that is so angry as we are about the injustices, and they are calling it out to a mainstream platform? And we had Fox covering this. And for us, this is like, we see this happening every single day. Almost every single day in the state of Connecticut, parole hearing after parole hearing, well, they will go and release the worst of the worst as the victims, as the survivors cry and plead to the parole board saying, you told us that he would have a 10-year sentence. You told us that my daughter would graduate high school before the monster is released. Why are you releasing them early? And they always put the monsters first, and they cite these archaic static 9-9 tools, and no one seems to care. No one seems to make a noise. And here they talk about how the parole board has no transparency. And again, this is why it is so important that these parole boards remain public. They are public meetings. They are not court proceedings. They have to be made in the public. And we have had states fight back. We had Vermont change their laws to keep us out. Utah changed their process to prevent us from publishing their hearings. Iowa completely stopped making it public altogether. States do not want this information made public, and they do not like when the information is exposed. Anyways, I digress. I had to vent. The point, what is the action item? You can call, or you can go in person. I'm leaving the phone number in the description. I'm leaving a template that you can use at least to get started. You can, of course, use your own. Be polite, be cordial. You are a representation of our community, and we need to get the message across. We need to have our voices heard. And I just want to give a huge round of applause to everybody up in that panel who answered questions. They are so passionate about what they are doing. And it is so rare. It is so unique. Maybe I can have one or two or all of them on the Mandoo channel. I'd love to interview them. From the sheriff to the DA. And I love the way he quoted the stats. I love the way that he said, oh yeah, if you want to release them, then you probably to drive your kids around, babysit your kids, you probably should be in prison too, huh? I mean, how many times have we said something like that? Oh, we have up until Wednesday. Don't wait. There's no excuse. Get it done today. You can leave a message, call now, leave a message. Thank you, Sir Richard, for bringing this to my attention, pulling together the information, encouraging me to cover this. And
that hearing, that in-bog hearing, is going to be next Wednesday on March the 18th. And so we are asking people right now to attend that hearing. It's going to be at 1515 K Street, Suite 550. And we're asking people to show up. We're asking people to show up to make a comment. We're also asking people to call in to 916-267-2222. 0857.
One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.